Welcome to this first session of our student support services. We're going to jump right into information about academic advisors, and then we'll continue with our faculty information. So I'm just going to pull up a screen here real quickly and hope that I follow all of Tina's important, helpful information. All right. And can you all see? It says it's all who you know. Wonderful. I haven't messed anything up so far. All right. So what can your academic advisors do for you? So my name is Claire Brakel-Packer. I am the manager of student advising and academic support at Muscatine Community College. So that means that I work with our academic advising team, our Res Life team, and our student activities team. And with me today is also Gabe Hearn, and I'll give him some time to introduce himself as well.
Well, as Claire said, my name is Gabe Hearn. I'm an academic advisor and program recruiter. So I'm not a sole advisor. I kind of also do a recruiting aspect and trying to get more students to Muscatine Community College. I work with a lot of CTE or career and technical education programs, as well as education and a lot of engineering transfer students.
All right, so the first thing that we'll talk with you today is about planning your degree or pathway when you work with us at the colleges.
So yeah, part of my role is advising. So that's one of the biggest things that I do here on campus. I help students kind of work their way through their degree or kind of pathway. Basically, the biggest thing to know is that it's an ongoing process. Rarely do I ever have a student who knows exactly what they're going to do and what classes they're going to take and sticks to this strict schedule and only meets with me once. Like, it's unheard of. So usually students meet with me at least once a semester, and things and plans obviously do change. It depends on what degree and field they're going into, whether and how much flexibility they will have in their schedule. But so, for instance, a student in engineering tech or in general, a student getting an AAS degree does not have as many electives that they could choose from. But a typical appointment would look like, generally I had already looked up the student and their background, what it says that they're interested in, and what kind of degree they're thinking about, so I can kind of know what to talk to them about and advise them. They would come in, I would look through their timeline as well as their progress with them, better known as their degree audit, and we would kind of work together to choose classes. I also kind of ask students what availability they have, if they're potentially working, and are they looking for morning class or evening classes, on campus, off campus, and just to see what they're looking for. From there, we generally try to at least obviously schedule the session that they're registering for, and potentially at least another semester or two, just kind of put it in their timeline where they can see and they can move classes around. And then after all of that is done, I just verify that everything is okay with the student, but before I go ahead and register them for the classes.
Wonderful. Thanks, Gabe. And then I think that's probably one of the more common things people might know about working with an academic advisor is that you'll go ahead and look at different options for you, different pathways, as well as your timeline. But there's additional things that your academic advisor is here to support you with. And one of them is your transfer plans and or career options after graduation. So 2 years can sometimes sound like a long time, but school is relatively involved. And so time can pass pretty quickly. And even more so if you're in a diploma or a certificate program. And so usually, if not in that first meeting, certainly in the second meeting that you meet with your advisor, you'll likely talk to them about what you're thinking about. And I have an example of a student who took this really seriously. And in their second semester, they had lined up a visit to their transfer institution as well as a summer internship. And they kind of already knew like, yes, this is what I really want to do. And here are the steps that I need to do it. And then they're planning on perhaps returning as a student with us, maybe taking classes over the summer when they transfer out west to continue their education. So it can feel kind of overwhelming. And I usually tell students that, right? That planning for graduation in your second meeting with me sounds quite difficult to think about, but a lot of these things do take time and can change your timeline as well. So we're always interested in helping you with whatever that next step is. In addition, academic advisors don't necessarily do all of these different things that are listed here in referrals, but we like to know everything, right? So anytime there's some new information, some new community resource, advisors like to collect all that information in order to help y'all. So when you come and meet with us and you talk about maybe struggling in a class, I'm not a tutor, but I can connect you with how to get a tutor, right? Or maybe you're struggling with an unexpected bill, or struggling with paying for this next semester. We can connect you with resources both in the community, within our institution, as well as just our financial aid department in how to assist you through those difficulties. In addition, like what's going on campus? What can I get involved in? Is there a club that's related to my major, or is there a club that's related to a hobby I really care about? We would know a lot of that kind of information and who to connect you with. And of course, there's many more than just those 3 examples. So please just ask. But then who do you ask? So who's your advisor? How do you figure that out?
So yeah, it's fairly simple to find out who your advisor is. I guess the most do-it-yourself kind of approach would be you can log on to EICC Connect with username and password, go down to important links, and then under there you would see self-service. And then once you click that link, there's a bunch of different kind of boxes or kind of tabs. You would click the one that says My Advisor. It would tell you who your advisor is right then and there if you have already been assigned one. Outside of that, the second easiest way would be just to call an info desk, depending on what campus you're on. If you're at Clinton, it's 563-244-7000. Muscatine, where I'm at, it's 563-288-6000. And Scott Community College is 563-441-4000.
Wonderful. And then just this last semester, we were able to open up really easy appointment scheduling, which is online appointment scheduling. So of course, you can always call into our info desk and schedule an appointment. But now you have the option to do that whenever it works for you. Get scheduled right onto your advisor's calendar. Your advisor should have a link sent to you either in your first meeting, maybe it's in their email signature. But if for whatever reason you can't find that from your advisor, you can also go to our website, eicc.edu/advisors. And that has a list of all advisors by campus. And then you can click on those advisors and get your link to your online appointment scheduling tool. So we're really excited that you're able to do that really easily. And you can schedule follow-up appointments as well as your registration appointments. And so if you have a quick question, you've already registered for classes, but you have a quick question about your schedule or your degree plan, or maybe something changed in your life, you can also schedule a shorter appointment. And then finally, just one thing that we want to leave you with is I think me and Gabe talked about what is our one tip, right? That if we were to say, this is what's really going to help you be successful in working with your academic advisor, is just ask. Okay. We might not automatically say, this is something you can talk to us about, or we know about these things, but don't be afraid to ask. Sometimes I find out new information in the community or at the campus level, just by a student asking if we have a resource that I didn't know about. And there's absolutely no stupid question. A lot of times students get registered and feel like they should know everything, but a lot of times that's your first appointment, your first step. And then you're going to have a bunch of questions after that. So please just ask, send us an email, make an appointment, and we'll connect you with what resources you need, even if we have to go find them ourselves, right, Gabe? And I just
Yes.
like say, hey, my student asked me this. I'm not really sure how to help with that, but someone does. We've got a bunch of advisors, and as a team, we can usually get your answer.
Yes. Just ask and be proactive about the asking as well.
Yeah. All right. So I hope that we gave a wonderful amount of time to our next.
Oh, it looks like there's a question.
Oh, there is a question in the
So
chat.
I think it said,
Wonderful. What is the difference between advising and registration? What would you say to that, Gabe?
So yeah, I would say registration I would also say it kind of encompasses advising, because you're basically registration, you're registering for classes themselves. Usually you're meeting with an advisor to do that. So they're kind of giving you pointers and tips. Advising, I would say sometimes I advise students, and it's like it can be in between registration. So it can be in the middle of the semester. They can be like, hey, what classes should I take next? It could be where do I find, kind of like we just got done with the last slide. Where do I find a tutor? What do you think? Do you think these two classes can go together, or will I be able to take the load next semester or something like that? So I would say registration is more focused on getting you enrolled. And it does include advising, but advising can go into much more detail, counseling, and etc. So I don't know if I did a great job of explaining it or not.
I think that's great. I don't think I would add anything. I think a lot of people think of advising mostly as the registration process, right? Getting signed up for classes. But most of us will meet with students before that, as well as after that. Because like I said, usually registering for classes feels like, okay, I should know everything, but oftentimes it's the first step, not the last step, right? And I usually tell students, expect that you're going to have questions that come up, and then we have another question. So how can students prepare for registration? So one thing to keep in mind, depending on your program, is that you may need to submit transcripts of colleges you've been to and or your high school or high school equivalency, as well as take a math placement. Now, there are some programs, I advise a lot of arts programs, Associate of Arts, you do have eventually a math requirement, right, that you have to take, but there's plenty of classes I can get you into without that placement. However, students like in nursing, really, it will be very challenging to get you into almost any of your prereqs for nursing without those placement scores. So I'd say that's some of the most important things to prepare for registration. But what I would also like to really encourage students is that as a new student, please feel free to reach out and schedule an information meeting. Okay. Sometimes just having someone to walk through that information with can be so helpful and can actually motivate you to then be like, okay, I will go find out how to get my transcript from, my GED 10 years ago. Like, okay, this feels like it's worth it. So don't let any of the steps for registration stop you from scheduling a time to talk to us about a program you might be interested in. Great questions.
Any others?
Yeah, seeing no more, I'm going to hand over our presentation to our faculty. So advisors and faculty obviously work very closely. We're kind of two sides of the same team that is here to help you be successful, whether you're doing one class with us, a short-term certificate, or planning your whole 2-year degree with us. So Tina, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen for you.
Thank you.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yep.
Make sure. All right. Okay, there we go.
All righty. Good morning, everyone. I am Tina Spullheim, and I am a faculty member in the Career Technical Education area at Eastern Iowa Community College. I've been asked to talk to you a little bit today, just for a couple of minutes, about connecting with your faculty and some tips and tricks. Additionally, my colleague, Brian Abbott, is going to tell you a little bit about what office hours are for. So go ahead, Claire. All right. Just a couple of things I want to share with you. Communicating with faculty can really help students feel more comfortable in college, and it'll help you feel more connected to the college community. Just a real brief story. When I was a student, I was lucky to be able to come to Eastern Iowa Community College at 18 years old. I attended classes for a few weeks and everything was okay. And then one of my mentors asked me, Tina, how are things going at college? And you know what my response was? It's like, well, it's okay, but I just don't feel like I fit in very well. And at that time, it seemed so profound that the advice was like, Tina, you need to sit in a place that's more centrally located. You need to be the one who initiates the conversation. Smile at people, nod your head, be involved. And it took a lot out of me. I was very much on the introverted side, and all of those things made a world of difference in my college career. So my friend Brian Abbott is going to talk to you a little bit about office hours, but all faculty have office hours that are established throughout the week that they set aside and dedicate towards meeting with students. So he'll tell you more about that. My advice for you is to think about always being on time. I think that is probably just a really good thing to make a good impression with your faculty. And you kind of underestimate the importance of this, I think, on the student perspective sometimes. You want to be noticed. So if you are attending classes regularly, you're being on time, that's going to make a really good first positive impression with your faculty. You don't want to be the person who is always walking in late, or always asking for submissions, or not getting your homework done on time. Your faculty will get to know you, but probably not in the that you want them to. So keep those things in mind. Participate in class. I realize that some of you will be online, some of you will be taking classes remotely, and some of you will be face-to-face. So make a point to participate in your class. And, you can do that in a lot of different ways. If it's face-to-face where your instructor can see you, they'll get used to your voice, your face, your name, the kinds of conversations that you have. I'm sure you have contributions that you can make. And if you're taking classes online, be participative, participate in those discussion posts, use your best writing, grammar, punctuation, spelling, email your instructor using those same kinds of things. Just remain visible with that instructor, and they're going to get to know who you are, and it will help build that connection. I think the last two are probably things that are very obvious. I don't know. I was someone who needed someone to tell me some of these things, so I just share it. Make sure that your communication with your faculty is courteous and respectful, and that's just a reciprocal relationship. It'll really help you connect with them. So whether it's face-to-face, whether it's done remotely, whether it's done in email, just remember those things to practice professional communication in your interactions. And I think that's probably the best advice I have for connecting with your faculty. Now, I was supposed to also provide one tip, wasn't I? And I'm going to steal what Claire and Gabe had mentioned about just ask. Your faculty are here to help you. They'll help you with the class you're enrolled in. They'll also help you with anything else. Even if we don't know the answer, we love to help connect you to the right people. So just keep the lines of communication open, and I think you will enjoy your college experience. And now we'll take a look at my colleague Brian's video. He wasn't able to attend today, so we have his video embedded here.
Hi, my name is Brian Audit, math instructor here at Eastern Iowa Community Colleges, and today I'd like to talk to you about office hours. So what are office hours? Office hours are time outside of class that has been set aside and is dedicated for instructors to meet with their students. Think of office hours as a resource that's available to you for lots of different reasons.
I was just told that we can't see the video. So let's try.
I'm sorry. What you'll need to do is just now go in and share the screen. Sometimes when you have too many screens in Zoom, you lose that visual. So that I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Okay.
So if you go back in and do it, make sure you click on share audio.
Oh. Let's try this again.
No pressure. My students tell me that all the time. It's like, Tina, we can't see it. And you may need to have his
Hi,
video.
my name is Brian Abbott.
I wonder.
You need to have his video up and then click share screen.
Right? That's what I'm just realizing.
It's a little clunky. I love Zoom, but that's just a funny little quirky thing that isn't very natural, is it?
Here we are. I think third time's the charm. Tina.
It is. Great job.
Math instructor here at Eastern Iowa Community Colleges, and today I'd like to talk to you about office hours. So what are office hours? Office hours are time outside of class that has been set aside and is dedicated for instructors to meet with their students. Think of office hours as a resource that's available to you for lots of different reasons. If you're outside of an instructor's office, though, we're living during an interesting time with the ongoing pandemic and the door's closed and it looks like they're busy and working on something else. Just know that sometimes we do work on other stuff if no student has stopped by. But whatever we're doing during office hours, it's not more important than you. So please knock. What are some reasons to go to office hours? Office hours are an opportunity to discuss material. Perhaps you have questions and would like clarification about some of the concepts presented in class. Or maybe you're just interested in the topic and would like to discuss it in more depth. Office hours are a great chance to do so. Seeking out help. If you're struggling, seek help early. Office hours are here for this purpose. It's for instructors to help students if they have questions. Oftentimes it's easier and better if students reach out early. It's oftentimes easier to keep up rather than catch up. Office hours are a great time to seek feedback. If you have questions about your grade in general or on a specific assignment, office hours are the appropriate place to discuss that. It doesn't have to be about your grade on a particular assignment or something that has already been passed either. Office hours are a great chance to get feedback on a current assignment on which you're working. Just remember to bring it along though. We want to see how you're approaching the task to be able to best help you out. Are you interested in the field of study that your instructor teaches? Office hours are a great place to ask questions and learn more. And just getting to know the faculty. Stop by and say hi. We like to get to know our students outside of the classroom. Perhaps you may ask your instructors for a letter of recommendation someday. It's much easier to write a glowing letter of recommendation for a student we've gotten to know a little bit in addition to being present in the classroom. How to approach office hours. Don't let visiting your instructor during their office hours be intimidating. The time is set aside and reserved for the purpose of meeting with students. So even if the door is closed, like I said before, we're living in the pandemic, just knock. All right, first and foremost, knowing where to find and when your instructor has office hours is important. They will always be posted in the syllabus, along with additional information about the structure and format. Many instructors may have drop-in hours that are regularly held throughout the week, during which time students are always welcome to stop by without an appointment, even just drop in. As the second bullet point states, sometimes those times don't work. If times don't work, feel free to reach out to your instructor about seeking an appointment to meet with them if their posted drop-in office hour times don't work for yourself. If you do this, though, it's really appreciated if you include your availability, as there are lots of students and only one instructor. Format. Some instructors may have options between in-person meetings as well as remote office hours that might allow you to meet with them at a time where you're perhaps not on campus or something like that. So that covers where to find office hours and how to arrange a meeting. In general, advice for approaching office hours is come with a goal in mind. In particular, if you're asking for help, have a specific set of questions and concepts to discuss. Bring your work, especially if you're asking about a particular assignment, and be ready to participate. Some instructors may ask you to work through problems and concepts as you're discussing the material. That being said, you don't have to have a specific goal in mind to stop by. You're always welcome during office hours to stop by and say hi.
All right, I believe it looks like that did work, so I don't have to play that again. Third time was the charm. For me as a student, I would say office hours were the biggest thing that changed my kind of success in college as a first generation college student, feeling kind of out of, I don't know, like out of place. I think Tina kind of talked about that. And office hours really helped me understand kind of how to be successful in college as well as career opportunities. So I couldn't agree with Brian anymore. Thank you all for joining us. And just remember, just ask.